Do you need affordable dental care? Consider a trip to Mexico. Let me walk you through it. So this video provides you my experience of going over for dental work and the costs and all of that. And I'm going to give you some hard and fast numbers and some very reliable estimations on how much cheaper it is, more affordable it is in Mexico than in the US for dental care. Well, how's it going? We'll talk also about some prescriptions and show you around the town and what to expect. So the first half of this video is going to talk about the cost of dental care and how much more affordable it is in Mexico. And the second half is going to focus on my experiences in going down to Los Algodones specifically and what to expect when you cross. Because if you don't have experience or don't know what to expect, it can be a little bit overwhelming. So be sure, and of course I save my best tip for very last so that you have to stay till the end of the video. So let's get going. Now for myself, the cost itself of the trip to Mexico really wasn't anything because I already myself like to spend winters down in the Southwest in my trailer. So I basically just went down to Yuma, down the road, and set up the trailer and got ready to go across the border. Now, I went just for a teeth cleaning. And so all I really wanted was preventative care. I just wanted a teeth cleaning. So in Mexico, that's only $35. When I got quotes for just a teeth cleaning in the US, in the Midwest specifically in 2022, as I was trying to, take the right action to prevent my teeth from decaying and everything, I never got service because they won't just clean your teeth. Every quote was over $500. It was always $500 to $600. And they all quoted that the ADA requires them to also do X-rays. So the teeth cleaning itself was $100 or a bit over $100, which is 3 to 5 times the cost as it is in Mexico. But when you consider the X-rays that they require, and then you lump that all into the $500 to $600, it is 15 times more expensive to get your teeth, a simple teeth cleaning in the U.S. than it is in Mexico. Go figure. Now, I did my teeth cleaning, they looked, and they did tell me I probably should be considering getting some fillings in the future. And I asked them if I need to get any X-rays. Should I be getting an X-rays, or are we confident and we know where I stand with my teeth and my oral health? And they were very confident in saying, no, you don't need an X-ray. You don't have any additional risks that would warrant that expense, which is completely different than in the US. And when I looked into it a little bit more, it looks like Europe handles it the same way. In fact, X-rays do come with some risks themselves. They like to minimize them. But if you don't have the risk to justify the X-rays, why risk the potential health effects to yourself plus the cost? So that was very reassuring. And what the heck? Sign me up for saving $500 any day of the week. Now, that talks about very basic preventative care, getting your teeth cleaned. We all know what that entails. Now let's compare the cost of additional services. So for me, the only additional services they recommended was some composite fillings. The same thing that you'll get in the US, very common here. And they quoted me and gave me my written quote and everything for $70 per composite filling. In the US, you're typically going to be running between $300 to $400 per composite filling. Again, we're talking 5 times as much in the US than the $70 that you can get it done in Mexico. Now, I don't have extensive dental work needed, but I was also curious, so I did a little bit of research and looked at other stories from other people. So this is not firsthand experience. But it was very common to read people would need like $8,000 to $12,000 is the quote that they would get in the US for whatever they needed, root canals and all that other stuff, and they would end up getting it done for less than $2,000 in Mexico. Again, it goes right along what my experience was with the fillings that I personally can tell you from my firsthand experience about that 5 times rule. It fell right in line with that. So it seems very reliable if you're trying to estimate what it will cost you in Mexico versus what you get quoted in the US. Divide that US quote by 5, and that's somewhere in the ballpark of what you're going to get your services in Mexico from my experience. It seems pretty reliable to me, and I'm a numbers guy. Now, one thing to note, and this is pretty important because I don't want to catch anybody off guard, and I didn't know about this until I got down there. So if you're using a credit or debit card, expect for your charge on your statement to be slightly more than what you thought it was at the dental office. If you get charged, if you're quoted $300 $300. In Mexico, and you use a card, it might end up $330 or more on your credit card. Now, here's the reason why. So, for example, the dentist office I went to, they had it on plaques that if you use a card, the dentist office themselves will charge a 4% fee for that service charge because they get fees and stuff as well. Now, on the flip side of that, you're getting service in Mexico. So even though if you're paying cash, they're quoting you dollars, when they bill it to a card, they charge it in pesos, which then your bank is going to transfer into US dollars. And every card out there has a minimum, I guarantee you, minimum 3% foreign transaction fee, if not more. So you're going to be looking, if you use a credit card, I would just guess 7 to 10% of your original cost if they quote you $300 and $330, maybe something like that. So that'll give you an idea. If you want to use your credit card, you don't want to go over with a bunch of cash for safety reasons, whatever, that's another charge that you're going to incur. Kind of similar to the parking cost of $6. It is there. I want you to be aware of it, but it's pretty minimal compared to the cost savings. Now, I was also curious, and to extend our reach beyond just the dental care, I know a lot of people go down to Los Algodones for prescriptions because they're cheaper down there. So I was curious, and I had a little bit of time. So I went down to a pharmacy, and I got a quote for my most expensive medicine. Now, my most expensive medicine is a daily asthma inhaler, and in the US, if you don't have insurance, it is $500. There, the pharmacy quoted me $60, and I said, that's without insurance, right? And they said, without insurance. So, compared apples to apples, if you don't have insurance. Now, you might be more affordable if you have insurance and it's on your plan. For me, it's $100 with insurance. It's still cheaper in Mexico, but comparing apples to apples, without insurance, $500 in the US, $60 in Mexico, almost 10 times as much. Holy cow. You get a couple of those, you've paid for your trip, even if you're coming from far away. Now, while you're there, you get your dental work done, but also feel free to go around and chat with the vendors and spend some money and save some money on things that are also more affordable, like shirts and clothing and hats. So for me, I always like to get a few of these, a few bucket hats while I'm down there because they're a little bit cheaper than up in the States. So I got 3 bucket hats. Guys, we're down in Los Algodones. And of course, you get to do a lot of fun shopping down here. So I didn't plan to buy anything, but you guys know me and my hats. So we got 3 hats here. We got a TikTok hat. We might need to start making some TikTok material. We got 49ers hat. You guys know I'm a fan. And I couldn't resist Baby Yoda. One other thing I will warn you about is when you cross the border, it's not like in the US where you get confronted by border agents or customs or anything like that. You're going to walk right across the border. Nobody's going to check your passport or your ID, but you are going to be greeted. You're going to be greeted by very friendly vendors who want to earn your business. But there are a lot of them. And they will ask you, do you need a dental appointment? And you'll be asked multiple times. They're very friendly. They're doing their job, but do be ready that you will be approached by multiple people, and for some it can be overwhelming. Now, I got a clip of a guy who he was very happy to be on camera, and so here's kind of a pitch you might hear.
You're a good dental man. Google us on the website. A lot of good personal testimonies and reviews. We're the best. Check us out. Talk to me personally. 16 years in the force, in the field. All right, man.
Now, that's a lot of fun. Like I said, the vendors are friendly. Here's a couple more. As you're walking around, they'll wave to your camera. If you got a camera out, of course, be sure you're holding on to it just for safety purposes. But quite frankly, I didn't run into any issues any of the times I've been down there. I know safety is a big concern for everybody. You're only 2 blocks across the border. Los Algodones, in my opinion, is very safe. So have some fun, do some shopping, hang out with the vendors, haggle, have some jokes, have a good time, maybe stop for lunch. But let's get to my best advice. I don't want you hanging around too long. And my best advice for anybody going across the border for dental work or shopping or for a quick visit, unless you're going to be staying overnight in accommodations, make your appointment early, get there early, and get out early. So last year I went over to Los Algodones, same place, with some friends. And we went shopping, we looked around, we went and had lunch. We got to the borderline about 2 p.m. and we waited in that line well over 2 hours. So the later in the day, the longer the line gets. That only makes sense. But this time, I made my appointment for 9 a.m. I was, even with all the filming and everything, I was in the line by 11 a.m. and I waited probably about 5 minutes. So getting there before noon versus late afternoon is going to make a big difference. So make sure you save yourself that time as well as the sunburn from standing in that line. Now, If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful or both, please hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate all of your comments, and I will try my hardest to respond to each and every one of them. Until next time, be a good human.